This is Newcap News with Bart Pediasic.
Tonight, it happened on Highway 16 about 5 kilometers south of St. Walburg. Officials say the man was wearing dark clothing when he was struck by a southbound vehicle. He died on scene. The driver remained on site and is cooperating with the investigation. The name of the deceased is not being released at this time. And RCMP have released another photo of a teenage girl reported missing nearly a month ago. Police say they were told that initially Kaylee Watchmaker was with her family, but that turned out to be false. Watchmaker is 14 years old, First Nations, about 5'2" and about 100 pounds. She has brown hair, brown eyes, and sometimes wears glasses and has her lower lip pierced. Watchmaker may be in Meadow Lake, North Battleford, or Saskatoon. Anyone with information is asked to call Onion Lake RCMP at 306-344-5550. Cold Lake RCMP, you're looking for 2 suspects wanted in connection with a brazen armed break-and-enter. It happened yesterday afternoon just after 1 o'clock. It's alleged the 2 masked men broke into a home. One was armed with what was believed to be a pellet gun and the other with a hammer. A resident inside confronted the men where he was almost assaulted by the hammer. Both suspects fled the scene. It's believed they were looking for money or drugs. Now, the first suspect is described as Aboriginal, 6 feet tall and about 180 pounds. He was wearing a skull mask and a Carhartt jacket with black cuffs and designer jeans. The second suspect is described as Aboriginal with a similar build as the first suspect. He was wearing a gray sweater with a black neck warmer covering his face, designer jeans, and Nike basketball shoes. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of these men is asked to call Cold Lake RCMP at 780-594-3302. Well, Jim Prentice is getting ready to become the next Premier of Alberta. He met with interim Premier Dave Hancock today to begin transitional talks and commented on how he plans to change the scandal-plagued Progressive Conservative government.
There are concerns about the backlog in public infrastructure that we have in this province and how we get on with the job of making sure that we have first-class services for our citizens. And it'll include consideration of fiscal responsibility and definitely ethics in government.
Jim Prentice won the PC leadership race over the weekend. The race was called after former Premier Alison Redford resigned in March amid allegations she abused taxpayers' dollars. And we have local reaction from Vermilion Lloydminster MLA Richard Starke, who says he is pleased Prentice won by a landslide. Starke publicly supported Prentice during the election campaign.
That's great to see, to have a decisive result like that removes, any and all doubt, about who, the majority of party members wanted.
Now, the overall voting percentage was down compared to last election, but Starke says he didn't receive any complaints about the voting system from those in the area.
One of the things that was new was the electronic and phone-in voting process, which was done for the first time by the party. And there were some issues with that, and we experienced some of those in our constituency as well. But that being said, I talked to many members here locally who voted and said it was the simplest, easiest process they'd ever participated in and really liked it.
And Prentice promises to clean up the party's problems, saying Starke says is implausible, especially after reviewing the Auditor General's report released last month.
Celebration from Jim
It
Prentice.
says right on page 2 of the Auditor General's report that that there should be no suggestion that those extended outside of the Premier's office to any other part of the public service.
As far as changes in the caucus, Starke had no comment and says it's the Premier's decision. The Terry Fox Run is set to hit communities all across the country, including the border city. This Sunday, however, local organizers say the number of participants signed up are not as high as they hoped for.
We're really looking to increase the numbers. I know last year we saw a good increase in numbers. We had about 50 participants, and hopefully this year we can get 100 or more.
Les Korn, the Lloydminster Terry Fox Run coordinator, has organized this year's event for the last 2 years, actually, and has seen good and bad turnouts.
It's been relatively low the last few years, whether it's because there's an influx of a whole bunch of new runs coming to Lloydminster, or just even maybe the interest out here hasn't been as significant because maybe Terry Fox didn't make it out west.
Korn says almost 90% of dollars raised goes directly to cancer research. It's still not too late to sign up, too. You can pick up forms or register on the site. The run is this Sunday at Bud Miller Park. Registration is at 9 a.m. and the race starts at 10. Well, early September is supposed to mean colorful leaves and the beginning of harvest, rather. Instead, much of Alberta is under a small blanket of snow. Here in Lloydminster, heavy rains is putting outdoor projects on hold. Jeremy Thompson has more.
This is not what you want your field to look like during harvest. Heavy sleet over the past 24 hours has made fields muddy and crops soggy. Some rain in September is normal, but many more days of the slush could have significant consequences.
Right now the yields are pretty well set. What we can expect though is probably some depreciation in quality, more so from the cereals than the canola, but that can be affected as well depending on how much moisture we receive.
Unusual amounts of rain in September affects everyone who works outside. This construction site is waiting to have concrete poured, but with weather like this, they might have to wait a few days.
A couple days of rain can make you a week behind real quick.
Wet conditions mean work delays for construction as well. Concrete needs a dry base in order to last.
With the tough June that we had with weather and now in September, it's been a tough summer this year.
While some could be frustrated with the early snow, John Winter remains calm. 15 years in the business has taught him it's all part of the job.
At the end of the day, there's not much we can do about it either, so we just kind of do what we can and keep going.
Jeremy Thompson, Newcap News.